Hi, welcome back to TruePod. Today's podcast is with the MD and founder of Studio 281, Georgia Testa. We had a really great chat about why and when Georgia started her business, the years up until COVID, how COVID affected her and her business, and then what the last 18 months has looked like, how she's looking to push on, how she's taken on new challenges, new services. We spoke about being a parent and what it's like being a mum and running a business, work-life balance, recruiting people, managing your ethos of your business and making sure that everyone's happy and working all in putting in the right direction. So yeah, really great chat, really honest thoughts and feedback from Georgia. So yeah, hope you like it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you on the next one. It's not the strongest look in the world, but
we're here for it.
Forget you got to lean into the podcast.
Yeah,
vibe,
for sure.
And also, when I'm doing something, I just want everything. So
to be the best.
Yeah.
It looks the bollocks. So
it looks, and all these buttons, I know exactly what they all do.
Yeah,
definitely.
Of course,
I know what they all do.
And all the different colours are related to.
Oh yeah,
I've
worked them all out, and they're just how I like them.
Absolutely.
So much so that I can't even reach it.
You don't really use them.
No, I know. This is always my favourite thing to do. I don't know how to do it on both mics. I know how to do it on one.
But you can make all the voices go funny, which is always
like.
This is a good one.
Oh my goodness.
This is when I send ransom.
So that's why you bought that?
Yeah.
Just for that?
Yeah.
Just to do your introduction thinking you're somebody else.
And it plays fun music.
And it looks pretty.
And yeah, exactly. Where's the one that I always like?
It's giving all the gear no idea, isn't it? Oh yeah, that's it. Introducing.
Exactly.
It's like BBC introducing.
Exactly.
TruePath introducing. There you go.
I mean, that's all I've used it for. But it looks cool.
Looks great.
I didn't even know I needed that, to be honest with you.
No.
That's where all the I thought I just needed a mic and plug it straight into the laptop.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, does it? No.
I wish it did, because that was one of the most expensive bits.
I can imagine in the 8 years that I've been doing what we've been doing, I've got a fair few of those, and I don't know anything about how they work other than how to press play.
Yeah, that's what you need to do.
But mine's like a mini one.
Yeah, you can get I think there's got 2 more mics you can go in the back,
Yeah.
and my thinking was maybe at some point I'm going to have
20 people on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When I'm Joe Rogan size,
yeah. Or like Stephen Butler's just done that panel one, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Where he had 4 people around the table.
I mean, you've got to aim high, haven't you?
Yeah.
What's the point of doing that otherwise?
Yeah, 100% took the words out of my mouth.
After you.
Oh, thanks.
Do a nice smiley face to Kitty as well.
Do you want me to actually close it? Open it and close it.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I don't know it as fun as you do. I didn't realise how much easier it is to edit when you've got that.
Yeah, because you can hear it, right?
You hear it and you see it and just line them up.
Yeah.
When I didn't do it at the start, or I was being a genius and did it and hadn't turned that on.
Oh,
like,
good.
What am I doing?
So literally all the gear, all the thoughts now, and now you actually do have some idea.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, love
but
that.
I was hoping that no one that really knows what they're talking about wasn't going to call me out on it, because...
If they do, call them out on the fact that they've got that much time to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
So fair.
Sad, aren't they?
Yeah, for
Pathetic. So anyway,
thank
you for coming in and
so welcome.
seeing us. I'll let you do your intro.
Oh, okay. So my name's Georgia. I am the founder of Studio 281. Studio 281 is a boutique fitness gym. Well, it started out as a boutique fitness gym in Kempston. And since then, over the last 18 months, we've redefined and redelivered everything that we're doing. We've developed our gym product to be a functional fitness facility and a Hyrox training provider. And we introduced Reformer Pilates across Bedford, Ampthill and Milton Keynes. So a full 360 event back to kind of how it all started. And it all came from me wanting a place that was different to the big box gyms and the leisure centres that I was kind of forced to work in when I left university and wanted to make a difference to the fitness world, and I just couldn't find somewhere to do that. So I took all the risks, had no idea, didn't really have a clue what I was doing, just had an incredibly supportive family network behind me. Thank goodness I was living at home, and I just risked everything that I'd made in the 2 years when I'd been working in the big box gym as a PT, and just went for it. Didn't have a clue about any of it, to be honest. But yeah, here we are, nearly 8 years on.
Wow.
And yeah, it feels like we've started again as a bit of a fresh line startup, but it feels like we're onto something really special at the minute. And I think when I talk to people about who we are and what we do, it feels like we're almost a startup all again. And we're back to the beginning, but with a lot more knowledge this time around. So, you know, when you kind of see those people, they're like, oh yeah, I did this for 20 years and now I've done this. And that was their acceleration, or that was their kind of like amazing rocket moment. It feels like we're just at the beginning of that now. That's
exciting that you have the energy and the ideas and the drive to sort of go for 8 years and then be like, right, now I'm really starting.
Yeah. I think I was a bit naive. Like, I had a business, I had a studio, I was teaching so many classes every single week, but I wasn't really running a business then. It was only when I had my daughter that things really changed for me. You know, I was working 30 hours a week as a PT and then teaching potentially 22 sessions on top of that. So I was almost like a busy PT, really, if anything else, with my own space. When you look at like the books of the business, it wasn't making any money as a studio. It was a facility that I was making money out of as a PT. So it was almost, like I say, it was just a bit naive. And I think that it's only honest to put your hands up and say it looked like we were doing great and it looked like we knew what we were doing, but we were just winging it. And then when I had Hallie 3.5 years ago, I had a moment where I was just like, I can't keep going on like this. Like, we have a term in our senior leadership now called don't be a busy idiot. And I was literally a busy idiot. Like, I just was like, oh goodness, we're doing this, we're doing that. And didn't really have any strategy, didn't have any plan, didn't have any structure. And I think that what I've learned over the last 18 months is the quicker that people are more honest about that being the start of everything, the more realistic it is to say that if you don't have a clue what you're doing, that's okay. You're doing something better than anyone else is doing because you're doing it. And for me, that's where the magic happened, was having that passion and drive to really go for it and do something and not worry about what the end of the month looked like. I was just so fortunate and lucky enough that I had a roof over my head and a family that was supportive of me to be able to do that and take those risks.
Yeah, I think that there's a really good point that you kind of... the big difference in most businesses that are successful is when they're, in my opinion, is that you're doing it like from the core of you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I
100%.
think that a lot of businesses and a lot of people starting business, when you're kind of trying to do stuff, you don't have to reinvent the wheel and do something amazing. You just got to do it your way.
Yeah, and like, let's be honest, like, I sweat the small stuff every single day. You know, I still work in that business. I still teach 17 times a week, you know, and if you think about me calling myself a busy idiot at 26, that was 3.5 years ago. I'm still at 17 sessions. I'm so close to the product. I'm so close to the people. You know, I don't, we had a conversation just before we started recording it, but I don't believe that the director or a CEO or a founder should be sitting there just like pen pushing and watching the numbers. I am in that business because it is my absolute heartbeat and it's the life and soul of everything that we do. And actually, you're right. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just need to do what we do really, really, really well.
Yeah.
I nearly swore there, but
that's fine.
But yeah, like, you know, that is the difference, isn't it? The difference is making sure that what you deliver, you would be happy to consume as a customer.
Yeah.
And actually, the reason I created what we do is because as a customer, I couldn't find it anywhere. So as a founder of a business, you want to fix a problem, but someone else could be fixing that problem just as well. Collaboration over competition is everything. So, you know, you might reach out to that person and say, I've been thinking about doing this. What's the things? That's okay. I think we're so protective, you know,
for sure,
in that space. And yeah, there's so much, isn't there? But yeah, my journey, I'd say so far, and going back to that whole introduction thing, potentially it's probably looked like everything's been amazing for the minute I started, but I've just marketed and documented the journey really well to showcase that I am really honest and truthful about how difficult it is, but I love it. Like, I love the journey. I love the shit. I love the problems. There is nothing more that gets me up in the morning than knowing that things aren't 100% there. I think I'd actually potentially sit there and think, what's wrong if everything was okay?
It's boring if everything's going well. And you want challenges, you want stimulation, and I think as well, that's what you get from it being your own baby.
100%.
There's the choice to control it how you want to control it, make the decisions. You don't have to run it by anybody else. You don't have to, you obviously overthink it and probably don't sleep for a while before you make that decision. But it's yours to own, good and bad.
100%. And I'm really honest about my own personal coping mechanisms with that. Like, I dip in and out of therapy all the time because I definitely would say that I deal with stress too well. So I sit in stress all the time. And I actually, when I haven't got stress, I panic. So it starts to become a place where, well, why is nobody doing something wrong, or why have we got no issues there?
Yeah.
Because when you've been an entrepreneur and when you've been somebody who's gone from nothing, like as in you've literally built something from an idea on a piece of paper to something,
Yeah.
you've felt and experienced every single one of those hurdles. So actually, when you look at it as a journey or as a map, 9 times out of 10, they've been uphill struggles rather than flat. So when we go into those flat moments or everything's going well, you don't actually know how to stay there.
Yeah.
There's an amazing quote that's kind of circulating on social media at the moment that states that. And it says, like, as an entrepreneur, you live in stress and your cortisol levels are high. So when you don't, you think, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And that's not healthy.
No.
And there's only a very small percentage of people that can firstly be open and honest to say that that's the case and that's their living environment. But it's not forever, and it can't be forever.
It's not forever. It's kind of, it's like you say, there's a only a certain amount of people can do that and deal with that and be okay with that, because there's domino effects around everything else that you do as well. But it's kind of like you always had, someone always said to me, if you're running a business properly, you're always a little bit paranoid. There's always something that can happen.
What a great bit of advice.
Yeah.
It's true though, because if you're not paranoid, you don't care.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Like I've been really open and honest about my journey kind of from the beginning all the way through. And before COVID, we were in a period of time where I was so embarrassed of the product. I was so like almost at that place where like, do I just give it all up and stop, or do I redefine it? And it was actually in a therapy session that I was having that she said that to me. She was like, you are embarrassed though because you care. So you've either got to own that you care and do something about it, or you've got to go, because I care, I need to say goodbye. Thank goodness I didn't say goodbye, but I think you're right. Like when you start to lose sight of the reason why you're doing this, that's a problem.
I think as well that you've got to find the balance is really difficult in like across the whole board, right? So you've got to find the love, the passion, the drive to get up and do it every day. But you've also got to know when you can walk away and turn off and relax. And
I still don't know that.
Yeah.
Do you?
No, I mean, I'm always thinking about something or researching something.
Yeah, or watching something, consuming it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that though. That's what keeps me alive, and that's what keeps the fire in my belly, because if I see somebody else, like I follow loads of different studios all around the country, all around the world, and I love watching what other people are doing to be like, that is such a good idea. I don't believe in rinse and repeat in terms of like, don't see someone else doing it and then just do it yourself. But how can what they're doing implement or enhance what our customers want? And I think, like you said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but everybody is doing something for that. So just being open-minded to that is so powerful.
Yeah. So let's sort of go back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that analogy of that there's a piece of paper and you're just mind dumping what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because I think that's, for a lot of people, that's the hardest part. It's once you're going, it's just a snowball effect.
Of course.
You just go to the next thing, go to the next thing, go to the next thing. But
how do you get started?
How do you get started? Where does the idea come from? When do you know it's a good idea? When do you think, how do I put a business plan together? What does a business plan mean? How do I put money to that? How much is it going to cost? Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that people think, I'm not going to do it. It's too much of a risk.
Okay, so I can answer this twice. So we'll answer it in terms of how I did it, and then we'll answer it in terms of how I would do it, because I think that's really important, yeah? Because for me, I had a A3 piece of paper, like a sketchbook that I'd gone to the local art shop and just bought, because I was like, I just need a big bit of paper and I just need to like brain dump. And I knew everything that I couldn't consume as a consumer. So my background before fitness was dance. I've got a dance degree. I went and off and became a secondary school dance teacher. And when you become a teacher, or when you leave the professional world, there kind of felt like there was a gap. I wanted to move in a way that made me feel challenged, but I couldn't consume that unless I went to London. So then it kind of became, okay, well, I'll go to fitness classes. But the fitness classes that I was going to were full of like 60-year-old women. Nothing against them, by the way, but it wasn't the same style of stuff that I wanted to go to. Or I had to go to the gym and train like a bodybuilder. Well, I didn't want to consume either of those. So that's where for me it came from. I've always been someone who loves the energy that it provides when you're in front of people. So again, it comes from my dance background. I've always loved performing and being in front of people and knowing that you can change the way that someone feels that day. That for me felt really special. So you know, the fitness world and my dance world kind of collided. And I was like, well, I could be in front of people delivering stuff, making them feel better, and do my kind of fitness qualifications at the same time. So for me, it was just a burning desire to create something that I felt like the world was missing as such. Did I have a business plan? No. Did I have any idea what it was going to cost me? No. Did I have a nice amount of money in the bank? Yes. Was I in a position where I could risk it all? And if it went wrong, it went wrong. Yes and no, because I didn't have any dependents. I lived at home. I was young. I was carefree. All I knew was I was going to work so hard that even if it meant that I had to teach every single class on that timetable, clean the toilets, do the messages, answer the messages on Facebook, because, you know, Instagram wasn't really a thing back then. Yeah. Answer the messages on Facebook, reply to emails, and go leafleting. Could I do it? And the answer was yes. So, and that is basically what happened.
And that's I think that's the bit that everybody misses out on.
I agree. And I was just going to say that. If you're not willing to sacrifice everything, and when I mean everything, you know, I wasn't in a relationship at the time when that happened. So, you know, I can't compare to how that feels if you're in a marriage or in anything like that. But I didn't have any of that. I didn't have a child. So again, I can't compare to that. But also I didn't have the knowledge. Yeah. So it was actually really risky. When you think about it, we threw £100,000 at a building that was literally derelict. Like, it used to be an old function room, and we threw every single penny at it. I went on a flight to Edinburgh to look at equipment. Like, I'd never done anything like that. I didn't even know what that looked like. But I just knew that that's what I needed. So I think looking back, like, it makes me really proud that the 22, 23-year-old version of me had the balls to do that. And I was only so young. So when I speak to people now and they've got that, I'm like, just do it. Don't listen to what anyone has to say in terms of telling you that you need this or you need that. Can you do it? If the answer is yes, then run with it.
If you know in your gut that you've got it there, it's something that you believe in, you can get up and every day, good day or indifferent.
6 a.m., 5 a.m., be up till 11 p.m., whatever that's going to take.
Living it, breathing it, doing it.
Because,
and I don't know how you feel about it, but the first couple of years are brutal.
Well, I would say my first 5 years were brutal. Yeah. And then COVID happened. So yeah, we'll get there. But I would genuinely say you've just got to be able to see how you're going to make it work. Yeah. So let's just take someone wants to open a corner shop, for example. Can you give everything to be behind that counter, serving those customers, going and doing the stock run? Can you do that? If you can do the bare minimum to make the most out of it, you've got a business. Then let's go to what I wish I would have known.
Just on that, just before that, was money ever a driver for you?
100%. It still is to this day.
Where's the balance become for driver of money or driver of doing what you had as that the world needed?
So I should probably take back the statement that I've just said, because I'm not driven by making money. I'm driven by making money by doing something that I love. Yeah. And that for me is different. If you told me that you could go and work for, let's just use a household brand in my industry that everyone knows, Les Mills, or fitness, I don't know, Techno Gym or something like that. Yeah. If there was a job that came up like that was hundreds and hundreds of £1,000s, yes, it would be attractive because I am financially driven, but would I want that over doing something for myself? Probably not, because all I'm then doing is giving my energy, my passion, my focus to someone else's bottom line, not mine. Yeah. So that's always been for me. Everything I know now, I look back and I think I had to make that mistake. Yeah. I had to have those months where all we made was £1,000 and we barely covered the bills, because they were lessons, and no one teaches you this. Yeah. You can listen to all the podcasts in the world. You can go to university and do a business degree. You can go and do online learning courses. You can join a business coach. Unless you're doing it,
you've got to feel that pain of making a mistake. I don't care what anyone says.
It's like running a marathon, watching a YouTube video. You're not going to know unless you've done it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's where I get really passionate about that, because everything I'm talking about now, I wish I could close my eyes and almost give the Georgia of 6 years ago a little voice note of just saying, you are going to be okay, because everything you're doing is setting you up.
And every step, whether you feel like it was forward, back or sideways, it's a learning experience. And I think the reason I asked the question around money is I think that people go straight into it as, I'm going to have my own business, I'm going to earn money, I'm going to be able to do this. And actually, you've got to go for a long time of just grunt. Yeah. And hard work.
You've got to be willing
to
earn nothing as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was on minimum wage for the first 2.5 years.
Well, I was on minimum wage for the first 6 years. Just putting something, very, very clearly, because at the end of the day, I had to make that building work. And in the middle of that, we had we had COVID,
Yeah.
you know, which was so difficult. They closed us. We couldn't do anything. Thank goodness I'd built a community that was so supportive and honourable of what we did. But, you know, and when I say these things of like, oh, I was on minimum wage for 6 years, that's not, oh, woe is me.
No,
That's
no,
because you
definitely.
have to make
You
it
have to do
work.
it. You've got to give everything to everything else. You've got to put the money back into the business.
Of course.
And I was very lucky that my business is not as resource heavy as yours. So I don't have to pay massive bills on.
Of course.
Like the space
Everything,
and
everything.
everything
Electric,
else.
everything.
Mine's just I could do it with a laptop and we're all
You
good.
could do it from your bedroom if you really wanted
Yeah,
to, right?
I was doing it in my garage.
Exactly, and
for the first
amazing, and
while.
well done you, because look at all the businesses out there that start out of a garage or a spare room or anything like that.
I'm not quite Steve Jobs yet.
Yeah,
we're
not
working
yet, but we
towards
might
it.
get there. let's not get, you know, let's not think in 2 years' time, who knows? And that's the thing. Now I have that attitude. In 2 years' time, who knows?
So what would you then do it? How would you do it the other side?
Oh my goodness, now different story altogether, because I know what I know.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about a startup, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the fact that we're like a reborn again startup. I've had more opportunities land on my table in the last 18 months than in the first 6 years.
Yeah.
So answer that one.
Yeah.
It's not coincidence. It's because we've got experience.
I think,
And that's the difference, isn't it?
yeah, I think as well, we kind of spoke about this previously, but you talk about being on minimum wage and giving the grunt work, and now you're in a position where you've got multiple sites, and you could look at that and say, oh, they just got a good break, or they just got this. But what you don't
Do you know how many people have said that to me, though?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Because Reformer, I'm sure we'll go there, but because Reformer all of a sudden seems like it's fashionable, people are like, well, you just did it at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But you've got years of mistakes and successes and work and I kind of used this analogy last time, but someone needs that big break, right? You need that good opportunity, or you need that good timing, or something happens. But that's not a coincidence, because you've put all the legwork in to get there.
Do you know what else as well? You are calculated with your risks
Yeah.
when you know what you know.
Yeah.
So for me, and I'm so open about this kind of stuff because I think it's really important to be, we had, I can't remember what it was. It was about just over like 30,000 in the bank when we did the whole redesign of the studio and did everything. And we spent every single penny because, you know, those beds are expensive. The rebuild was expensive. The new flooring was expensive. We had to completely redefine it. But I believed in the product so much with the knowledge, the expertise, the marketing we had behind it, me as a pioneer and a driver of that. I knew, again, back to the beginning, if everything went wrong, I could deal with delivering everything. And I knew that we could make something work. And I just knew. I just had this real weird feeling in my gut that it didn't matter. Even if I didn't get paid for whatever, I knew it was going to be okay. And I think that when you give yourself that amount of self-belief, the only thing that can happen is success. However you measure success, that's on you.
Yeah.
But the only thing that can happen is success, because you are not going to go to bed at night unless you know that you've done something that day that's got you 1% closer.
Yeah. And also I have this burning thing in me that's always like, what could I have done? Mm-hmm. So I think, I've said this again before, but David Goggins, he had a really good quote where he said, my biggest fear is the day I die, I go wherever I go, and there's a list of all the things I could have achieved, and there's a list of things that I did achieve.
It's really interesting that you say that. So we are at the moment in an absolutely incredible position. Like, I've only ever dreamt of being where we're at in terms of the opportunities that we've got on the table. And my mum and I are business partners in the directorship of our business. And she always says to me, can we afford to do that? Can we do it? Can we? And I always just say, we'll find a way.
Yeah.
Because I would hate to get to a place where I was like, oh, we just have done that.
Yeah.
So I'd rather do it and fail and learn from it, or do it and it not work. But touch wood, that hasn't happened yet. Because I do truly believe if you're taking a risk on yourself and you're betting on yourself, why would it not work?
And that's the only person you want to bet on, right?
Of course. And actually, that's the only person that you can truly trust.
Yeah,
It's the only
and
person
fully control that as well.
Correct. And that's the only person that you can have conversations with in your car. I'm sure that anybody who runs a business or is entrepreneurial will agree with this. There's always moments where you sit there and you go, I actually don't know if I can do this. Just sit there, because in 2 days' time, you'll be like, that's why. Because it's always that little bit harder before it all goes again. I had it literally 2 days ago. We've had members of staff for no fault other than, moving home and things like that. We've had a big, a big hole in our ecosystem in terms of staffing. We've got at the moment 3 sites that we're potentially going to say yes to, all at the same time. And I'm thinking we can't even staff the ones that we've got right now, let alone with the growth. And that feeling of like that bubbling anxiety within your stomach, and you're like, I don't know how to do this, but I can't say no. And then you take a big deep breath, and the next day something positive happens because you didn't give up.
And that's the thing as well. There's so many negatives. There's some days where I've sat in my garage, I've sat in a small office or our office now or wherever it may be, and thought, I just can't do this. There's bills to pay. There's clients that have massive expectations on you. I just can't do it all. I'm mega stressed. I'm not sleeping. I go home and I'm like not giving myself to anybody because I'm just done.
Yeah, but that's me, and I am a huge advocate for let's stop glamorizing that.
Yeah.
But also that's reality.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the fact that people think that business should be soft and slow and we should be in this for that. Fine, if you want to do that, that's cool, but that is not me. I am here to go as hard as I need to go for as long as it takes me to go there, because I want to ensure that, I know we had this conversation very quickly, briefly, but if my daughter turns around when she's 10 and says, Mum, I want to be on the West End, I'm going to do everything in my power to make all of her dreams come true. I'm not going to do them for her, but I will do whatever it takes. When she gets to 21, if she wants to open a chain of hair salons, I want to be in a position where I can ensure that she can do that, because that's what my parents have done for me. I've grown up in an environment that's always been very entrepreneurial, but I saw the graft and I saw the grind and I saw the sacrifice. It wasn't, let's go on 2 weeks of a holiday and just sit there and chill. Like, that didn't happen.
Yeah. And I think it's a really good point, right? I think that it's not unknown to people, right? That your family have got this business in Bedford, right? They're not like there's multiple of you guys, right?
Yeah.
But there's 2 ways of looking at that, right? You look at it from the outside and you say, well, they've just got money, so it's easy.
Yeah.
Right? Or you can look at it as there's all of you are doing something.
Yeah. And
right?
you know what? We become our own ecosystem, really. So the whole money thing, it's such a thing, because actually, as children growing up, we just saw our mum and dad work their absolute asses off, like literally to the point where we would be so busy, as would they. We'd be dragged to my mum had a coffee shop on the retail park for 13 years before we opened the studio. But, we'd be dragged there to help set the chairs and tables up. We would work there at weekends if we needed to. My brother used to get up and go with a family friend off to London at 4 a.m. to work in the prep of a butcher's, what's it called? Like literally where they cut
Abattoir.
Literally at 4 a.m. cutting animals up. But he was grafting. We were grafting. I was running that coffee shop with my mum at the weekends at the age of 16. So you can say whether we were, they've got money. I can promise you that, yes, we had the most amazing and support in terms of the supportive and emotional side, but from a financial perspective, we still have to sit there and pitch to our parents if we want any support. My mum and dad are a shareholder in my business from them buying in. It wasn't just here you go, here's a step in the direction. So let's not just go out and look at people with green eyes, because actually we were taught the graft and we were shown the grind and we didn't know anything different. So I honestly could not be more grateful for what we were exposed to as kids, because we weren't handed any of it on a plate. We all, we were all told to work our asses off, and we all had jobs, and no one got given a house deposit or anything like that. It was very much that. And our parents now work with us. How amazing is that, And we support each other, the Three Heads business, which is my dad, my brother and my sister. They work with huge household names in the marketing and the video marketing world. And we're doing something really special where we're now actually ending up in conversations on the same table. Some of their customers and some of their, top levels, they're now saying, what are they up to? And it's just special. Like,
it must be amazing
so
to have that all. And like you said, yes, the only person that you can fully trust yourself, but family is pretty much
my goodness,
on the same breath.
Everything. And
to have that all, that ecosystem, like you said, all together. And it's great to have that energy, the entrepreneurial energy and ideas. And sometimes you want a sounding board. Sometimes you want I can imagine that around that table there's a lot of great ideas.
There
kicking
is.
around.
I would say as well, though, like if someone was a fly on the wall on a Sunday dinner, for example, it would be for some people's like their idea of hell, and for others their idea of heaven. It just depends what you don't have in your life. So for some people potentially coming into it, it can be a lot because we're very intense. We spend a lot of time together. We do joke and we're almost like we are a little cult, but nobody is going to give me the honest and most absolute honest opinion than my family are.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we've gone through everything together. We've gone through the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when my life literally fell apart 2.5 years ago, they picked me up and scooped me up and made sure that everything was okay. And I knew that whatever I wanted to do going forward, they've got my back. So, I don't need... Sounds so awful to say, but I don't need a man or any of that in that respect to do that for me because my family are everything in that space. And they literally took myself and Hallie in to ensure that that was always going to be our support network. So it goes beyond business. The business part is just a really lovely thing that we get to say, oh, well, I'm they're pitching for this. Can we use this? Or we want to do a campaign like this. Can you guys help us? That's amazing. That's the ecosystem that we're so fortunate about. But the bit that you can't put a price on is the support, the energy, the like-minded nature, and being in a space where we're all just risk takers.
Yeah.
We all just go for it.
Exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so let's talk about the moment where you're thinking, okay, do I give up here? Do I stop doing this? And then where did the sort of change come from? And how did you have the idea, the energy, everything that's needed to then kind of, obviously it's not in a place of reviving anything, but you kind of felt like it wasn't where you wanted to be.
Yeah, redefined it basically. Yeah, of course. So I've always been a consumer of our product, which I think is really important. So I think if you look at any brand that's successful, the founder or the director, however they're kind of set up, lives, eats, sleeps and breathes the product, their product and beyond. So for me, I'd found myself in a position where I wasn't consuming our own product because it wasn't what I needed it to be anymore. That's an alarm bell, right? If you're not proud of what you're doing and you're not wanting to be your own customer, then you're not doing it right. So for me, I was in a therapy session, and I've spoken about this analogy on many podcasts, where basically my therapist said to me very visually, turn around and put the business behind you and put it at your back. You've got a crossroad. You've got what could be to the left, and you're watching it because you've let it go, or you're standing at the right and you're pushing that rock up a hill. Which one feels good? And I don't ever know what it feels like to go, oh, I wish I've done that. So I had to, it all comes back to that fact of not knowing how I was going to do it, but knowing that the gut in me was going to always make sure that whatever I'd put my mind to, I was going to do that. So it came from a real place of I wanted to stand on the playground and my daughter be really proud of what her mum does and what her mum has. But more than that, it came from a place where I knew I had something from my years of experiencing what I didn't want to redefine something that I knew I did want. So the way I trained physically had changed. I was really interested in the hybrid way of training around kind of strength meeting cardio and kind of starting to combine that. The fitness scene of fitness racing was just starting to bubble. So, we've been doing what we do with the High Rock space now for about a year, but it all just started to make some noise on it. And I'd started to consume that via socials. I'd started to see some of the CrossFit athletes starting to get into that space. So I think what I would also say is because I consume our industry so much, I kind of knew that this was going somewhere. So it was either we jump on it and we try it or we don't, basically. And cut a very long story short, myself and Ilona, who is like my right-hand woman in the business, me and her raced High Rocks in May last year. We didn't tell anyone. We trained for it. We didn't tell anyone. And we went there and we were like, let's just see what this is about. And oh my goodness, it blew our socks off. Like literally, it was like being in a nightclub back in, 2000 and whatever, however many years ago it was. The energy, the atmosphere, that feeling, the vibe, the community. And we were like high on life. So I was like, if this is how we feel and we're at the top of the chain, we can make everyday people feel like this. So it was, again, driven by experiences. Exactly the same with the reformer leg of our business. That was driven by the fact that I'd had a horrendous C-section with my daughter. I couldn't move. I was really struggling to get back. And someone in the physio space had said to me, do you do Pilates? I was like, yeah, I've trained and taught Pilates, mat Pilates for years. She was like, go and do a reformer because your strength is better than your core. Go and see what the imbalances is. I went and did a 1-to-1 and I was like, I'm sold. This is incredible.
That's the one on the moving bed, right?
It is, yeah.
That's as far as I know about
yeah,
it.
so that's the one that's practically redeveloped a whole nother leg of our business. So back before in 2023, we were just a one-legged business. We were a gym and we offered services and we were one set aside there. Now, fast forward to halfway through 2025, we are a gym, then we have a leg of reformer studios, and now we have a training academy as well. So the ecosystem of our own business is developing. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. But it is super exciting because when you look back, it just feels like yesterday. So I always just think if we did that and it felt that difficult, now we know what we know. It's on such an exciting place.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things. I think what's really, I feel very much that I don't ever want to share things unless they're perfect.
Yeah.
So when you're saying about you don't love it, and I'm always like, I don't want to share things. I'm always pushing stuff back because I'm not ready for it. It's not perfect. It's not.
But who thinks it's? Who are you asking?
Me.
You're defining your expectations of perfection.
Yeah.
So I always think about perfection as something really interesting. So there's so many analogies out there, isn't there, with like YouTube, podcasts, to say the least, Instagram. People post for years before they get seen. If you wait for perfection, you're just waiting on days that you're not doing something. So 1% better every day. That's the thing I live by, 1%. You make one choice today that changes tomorrow. Post that content, post that video, post your podcast, put whatever it is, just do it.
100%. And I think I was so caught up on there's got to be the perfect this and the perfect that and the perfect other, as opposed to just what's the worst that can happen.
Correct.
Like there's
You're
some
going to
podcasts
fail,
that
but
are
failure's
like,
okay.
yeah, that sounds a little bit off.
Do you still listen?
Yeah,
of course.
Or it's the lights, but it's just you've just got to do it. And I think chasing perfection is something that I'm always in my head. Like I don't want to do this, and then I'm just like, just do it.
Just take a deep breath, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Yeah.
The whole Mel Robbins thing is quite big at the minute in the let them space, with the analogy of kind of 3, 2, 1, do it. And I think that's massive. I think in entrepreneurship, we are perfectionists. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, because there's a reason why you left your job in that respect to do it yourself, because you thought something in that is going to make you better, you be able to deliver that in a way. And I think that if you can do that, you've done that because you are chasing perfection, but you're on the journey of perfection.
Yeah.
And you might get there one day. You might have the perfect podcast episode. You might have that perfect piece of content, or you might not. But you're never going to know if you don't know.
You're always trying to get there, right?
Of course you
are.
are.
And if you're not chasing something, obviously I'm far from perfect. That's just how it is. That's life, right?
I don't think anyone's perfect.
Exactly. But if you're always trying to push that, always trying to get there, and I think that's the wider there is a lot, like we said, about stress of business and this that, and the other. But the rewards you get from taking like work-life balance that people think is there, that often definitely isn't.
Yeah.
But the reward you get for people you work with, or whether that's your customers or your employees, or watching like growth of people for us delivering on something that someone's really happy with, and you'll sit there and you're proud of yourself. And do you know what? That came from up here.
I did that, yeah. And I love that. And I think that I just got like a little real funny feeling in my tummy when you were talking like that, because I always sit there and think, if something was to happen to me tomorrow, like I know I've kind of referenced it a few times, but COVID was such a hard time for us. And I remember thinking, even in COVID, even though my business on paper was a failure, I remember sitting there and thinking, if I never open those doors again, I've done such a freaking good job. And I know that when I go to bed every night, I know that if anything was to happen, I know I've done a good job. And I'm proud of my product. I'm proud of what we stand for. I know that people love what we do. I know that the people that work for me love being part of it. And I know it's bigger than just what's in the bank. Because to be quite honest, if you're so driven by that, I think you're setting yourself up for failure, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the financial side of business only will ever get you so far. I never know what's in our bank. I actually don't do anything about the finance because I'm rubbish with numbers. You know, I'm heavily dyslexic. I don't work with any of that. I go, right, that's my idea. How are we going to get there? Let's do it. Can I afford to do it? Ask the accountant. Can I do this? Maybe need to look at this. Okay, cool. And then I go and do it anyway. And
Yeah,
if,
9 times out of 10, you just do it anyway.
I do, yeah, because actually if I do it and it costs me £5,000 more, for example, I'm going to work 5,000 times harder to make it back.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I don't believe in doing things for that. I still don't feel from a financial perspective that we've been rewarded for the work that we've done, but I know in my gut that if we carry on, that's going to come.
And also the key part to what you said for me is it's how you feel about it.
Yeah,
When
of
you go to
course.
bed, you feel about it. And there's social media is an incredible thing, right? I wouldn't be doing the job that I'm doing if I didn't see the value in social media.
I agree.
But there's a dark side to it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, how long have we got? Social media is a really difficult one because I think that a lot for myself, I do not class myself as an influencer. I don't class myself as somebody who's big on social media, but I know I have a presence. I have a presence because I show up there. I show up there through the fact that it keeps my audience engaged, and my audience, I even know the metrics, like 36% of my audience are customers. So, you know, but I don't focus on the 36%. I focus on the other side of it who aren't, and how can I ensure that they get value out of what we do? Because who knows where we'll end up? They might follow me and be in Manchester. We might have a studio in Manchester one day. You know, in that respect, I do social media to share the journey. And I honestly have the impression that if one person can be influenced or educated or moved or supported or feel connected through your content, then you've done a good job. That's from a personal perspective. From a business perspective, my business would be nothing without social media.
Yeah.
So does it consume my life? Absolutely it does. Would I love to be able to have a day where I don't touch it? I don't actually think I'd know what to do. There's a Grace Beverley piece of content that she made a couple of weeks ago, and she said like how she's constantly on TikTok, consuming content on TikTok, consuming Instagram, and that's what makes her good at her job. So as much as we are negative about that, how much is it fueling what you do? And it is the fuel to my fire, 100%.
It is. I don't like it, if I'm honest.
Big statement.
Yeah, I don't. I very much when I'm happy with I have it on my laptop and on my computer, and that's where I kind of do it. But for me, I get caught up.
Okay.
In stuff.
Do you know why though? It's because it's addictive.
Yeah, and I delete it off my phone. Don't have it on my phone.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Oh my goodness, can you imagine a life without that?
And I say as long as our talking about the perfection thing, I don't want to do stuff until it's perfect. Now we're changing and just pushing all our content out, and that's going to be coming soon. But when that's being managed, and we know the numbers, and I'm happy with it, I'm not having it on my phone.
Yeah,
because I'm looking at. I'm doing the same as you, right? So all of our customers in different spaces, I want to know what their competition are doing. How can we learn? How can we do better? But there's always I'm very happy with where we are in our business, and I think that we've gone through stages, and similar to you in terms of adjustments, moved, pivoted, whatever. And I'm happy where we are. And I want to be more. I want to do more. But I don't like the competition and the competitiveness there is out there. And there's not enough of the collaboration. It's more of the competition.
But you can change that. You can be the pioneer to change that. So I'm the female in a male space. There isn't very many of me. And I'm okay with the fact that none of the men want to be my friend, because actually I've just dealt with the fact that they're probably a little bit, they just probably feel a little bit intimidated by that, and I'm okay with that. So as soon as you sit there and you go, that's okay, because they are not me, you are your superpower. And I used to try that when I first came back to the space after having my daughter. I was desperate for community in terms of within my workspace, because I felt so lost, you know. I felt like I've lost everything through COVID. I don't really know what I'm doing. And I would reach out to other gyms and I would be like, look, I know you've kind of gone through the same thing, and everyone was so cards close to their chest and all of this sort of stuff. So you be the change. You be the reason that people think, oh my goodness, you've not done anything wrong by telling someone your industry secret, because it's not a secret. Everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing the same stuff.
So that's where I sit. Like, if someone says to me, how did you do this? I tell them, because again, they're not me. And I think it's so sad. Like, if you're listening to a piece of content and it resonates with you from that's me, more for you.
I think, yeah.
You know, if you're the person that's competitive, that's on you, not anyone else.
Yeah, I'm trying to strike the balance between being honest as I can in these conversations,
Of course.
using that as my platform to talk,
course.
but not spending all night looking at
No.
this, that, and the other. And that's
Absolutely.
where the balance
That's
is
a real
hard.
fine line as well. That's a completely different statement to make. I think if you're talking about people in the same industry as you and, you know, being competitive against each other there, I don't like that. I think that's horrible. If you're talking about the fact of looking at somebody in terms of what they're putting out there, in terms of content creation, just shift your mindset and think like, be inspired by it rather than thinking, oh my goodness, they're doing better.
Yeah.
My head of marketing, she probably is sick of me because every time I see something I like, I send it to her, I send it to her, I send it to her. And then we have a meeting where we go, right, what did we like about that? Perfect, pull that in with this. And it becomes your own Pinterest.
Yeah.
So actually, it's just the outlook that you have on what that is. And I think that very much so, because we are also driven, if you are entrepreneurial, you're also driven to be the best version of yourself. We start to think, oh, but they're doing that and I should be doing that. No, just take a deep breath. You're exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
Just move in a way that works for you.
Yeah, it's also about staying in your own lane as well. You've got to
100%.
stick to what you believe in.
And you only have what your story is built by what your story is meant to be built. Like, I am not them and they are not you. And that is what is so special. So I think for me, coming back after the huge failures of COVID and the redefining moments, that was my biggest lesson. Let's own what we own. Let's drive where we drive. Let's push what we know we're good at and let everybody else do their thing.
Yeah.
Because, you know I've had conversations with people going, oh, I was going to put Reformer into my gym, but I can't fit it in and I wouldn't know how to get the stuff. No, because you're not me. You know, just because that's what we do, you're not me.
Yeah, and you don't have to be.
No.
Yeah.
You're doing what you're doing. Do what you're doing really well and you'll do it really good. A lot of people think that like Reformer and High Rocks and things like that are trends. They might be popular at this present time, but they're not trends. They've been around for forever. Well, not so much High Rocks, but the way of training with High Rocks. But, you know, Reformer's been around for longer than we've been on this planet. You know, and I just think that it's just because social media is marketing the benefits of it beyond belief. And actually the way that the consumer is moving now is different. You know, we're tired, we're working more. You know, we can't put our bodies under so much stress. We're also more educated. If I was to say to you 5 years ago, do you know the effects on your body of cortisol? You'd have been like, what's cortisol?
Yeah,
Whereas
so
now
true.
it's constantly in front of you around, you know, take this supplement to help with your cortisol levels, move in this way to help with your cortisol levels. So the average consumer's education is higher. So think about that, whether you're in my industry or not. Think about that as why we feel so much more stressed, you know, because the consumer that we're selling to has more education
more
than
than they ever have
ever.
done. Yeah.
You probably meet so many clients that know more about their socials than ever before. Whereas before you could say 1, 2, 3 and they'd say, okay.
Yeah.
Now they're like, well, actually, I watched a TikTok or I watched this and heard this. So it makes our jobs harder in every sense.
It does, absolutely, but it also gives you the power to know more than it's, again, going right back to the start of what you're willing to give.
I agree.
Are you willing to give more than anybody else, to know more than anybody else? Are you willing to study? Are you willing to watch videos and read books and however you consume content? Because I obviously I can read, but I can't sit and read a book about something. But now you've got every platform available. You can sit and watch YouTube videos. You can listen to podcasts. You can watch podcasts. You can audiobooks.
Yeah.
Everything is at your fingertips now to do what you want to do, learn. And also, you don't have to have gone to uni to do it either.
No, oh my goodness, I don't use my degree ever.
I studied sport.
It's so funny, isn't it? Well, I've got a first class honours degree in dance and professional practice, went and did like my dream job for a year and then handed my notice because I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
But did it teach me discipline? Did it teach me the ability to apply myself to solve problems? Yes. So, you know, you don't have to have a degree in what you're doing, but that's a skill.
It is.
But there was something that you said there that I just wanted to add to a point on, and it was the fact when you said about doing this and doing that. Something again at the minute in the wellness space and in the health well-being space is the fact that we're all trying to do so much all the time. we don't have loads of hours in the day, especially if you're a parent or you're running a business, or maybe, for example, for a lot of people, their businesses start as a side hustle, don't they, while they're trying to leave their full-time job. So try and be really clever as well with how you do what you know you need to do. On your drive to work, do you need to call your friend, or do you need to make that sacrifice of that call and catch up with your friend and actually listen to that educational podcast?
100%.
There's also the flip of, actually, if that call with your friend helps your mental health, then that's beneficial. But what can you do and where can you layer your life? It's a bit of a theatrical term, but layering your life to give yourself as much as possible. You know, when I was consuming everything around the reformer, I was traveling in and out of London and basically searching the country to consume good reformer content, and I couldn't find it. So I answered the problem. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you need to know the answer so strong to know that you can answer the problem if that's what you're at the stages of the beginning. Yeah,
it's a really good point, because a commute is a commute, right? You're sat in your car. I used to, when I was used to I started my life as just kind of sales and telesales and and it was a 40-minute drive, and in that 40-minute drive I'd listen to, or I'd just do a pitch to myself.
That's it.
I'd pitch to myself over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where I could probably do that pitch now.
Still, because it's ingrained in your subconscious. Yeah, of course.
And that's it's a muscle. It's a muscle that you're learning. And what I was chatting to my mum the other day, right? We were talking about her business and where she works, and there was branding that was wrong. And I was like, this is shocking. Like, this needs to, maybe I should cut this bit. But I was talking to her, you need to be doing this. And she was like, how do you know this? And I was like, she said, you didn't study this at school or anything. I was like, no, because I've just watched hours and hours of content.
Yeah, and actually, let's go there. If you're a business owner, you are HR, marketing, sales, directorship. You manage people, you're a cleaner, you're a product specialist, you're an IT technician. If you're not willing to do everything and more, don't do it.
And also, you have to, like you've said at the start, you have to be in the nitty gritty of it all, right?
100%.
We've got people in the team that are better than me at what they do, right?
Yeah,
but I still want to know what they do.
Of course.
I still want to understand it and be involved in it and
100%.
make a decision on it. And otherwise, I don't want to sit back and be like, yeah, you do that, and I'm just not going to do anything.
No, and do you know what? That's a real hard part, because I'm at the stage in my life now where I need to stop doing that, and I can't. And it's holding us back, because I am, difficult. Oh my goodness, it's beyond difficult, because I don't want to stop teaching on a Wednesday at 8:30, but I probably need to, because there's loads of other stuff that needs me, but that is my true core. And I think that's the thing, for as long as you can stay true to your core, you're going to be okay. And I always remember where I started, and I always think, keep your feet on the ground. You hear and see a lot of people, don't you, that get what we think is overnight success, and all of a sudden they're nowhere to be seen, and they're constantly here, there and everywhere, but actually it always does a 360, and they always end up back where they started, because they remember that's why it was so successful in the first place.
And that's why you know, like you say, your product, your service, whatever it is, you need to know that. But not only you need to know that, you need to know what working, what isn't working, what's going on in and around it. The amount, the change, the monthly change that we have, that's just this is changing that space. We need to just adjust that, or that's not working. Why is that? And if you're too far away from it, you're not going to know what's working and what's not, and you're going to be stagnant. I
agree. And I think every single person's job in your business is your problem. And I think that you always should be a soundboard. You should always be someone who is approachable, and you should always be relatable as well. You know, I think that the minute that a founder, a director, or whatever they call themselves, becomes almost like untouchable, it starts to become a bit ugly. I mean, we can talk about it because everyone knows about it, but look at the PLT. Look at the PLT thing that happened, the crash of them when they got found out about how they were making all their clothes, the sweatshop scandals. You know, the brand got boycotted pretty much overnight. But now look at the way that the founder had to come back and almost like do an apology, redefine themselves. If he'd have kept his feet on the ground in the space of that, I'm no expert, but could that have been saved?
Yeah,
who knows?
And there's loads of examples of it. I don't know if you've seen the BlackBerry phones.
Yeah.
They were the biggest phones, right? Everyone had one. And then it was like BBM movement. Everyone was on BBM. And then they just stopped. They went from controlling everything internally. They had their finger on everything to getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And actually, I don't think it was them that decided to step away. I think they were forced away. But then things go to China and this happened.
Yeah.
And it's just
Gone.
Who's got a BlackBerry?
I've got one in my drawer because I think it's quite nostalgic, isn't
Nostalgic,
it? But
yeah.
I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen someone use one.
Yeah.
But you're so right, and I think that's the thing. Like, as a founder, we have these dreams, and if you're not dreaming like this, like, you're not being truthful. But we have these dreams, don't we, of living the life of like time freedom and financial security and all of that sort of stuff. And all of a sudden you think, oh yeah, I'm going to wake up and I'm just going to check my emails and everything's just going to happen for me. That's not reality. If someone's selling you that life, they're probably a business coach who is just selling you that.
And probably never done
it.
Thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's Stephen Bartlett. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a piece of content with Stephen Bartlett and another huge CEO of a Chinese firm, and they're sitting there and they're like, "What does your day look like? 6 a.m. Check my emails. 7 a.m. podcast."
Stephen Bartlett doesn't get up till like 10 o'clock.
No, but he works till 1 a.m.
Yeah,
which is a big fat no from me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does, and obviously with his difference in time recording. But there you go. Look at us. We're watching and consuming people who are better than us, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, for sure. And I also always had this plan of I'm going to retire. I'll be able to retire when I'm 55. That's my goal. There's not a chance that I'm going to be able to say, right, I'm 55 now. I'm just going to sit around and do nothing.
Do you find it hard to do nothing?
I can do nothing for a little bit. For like on holiday, I can probably do nothing for a day.
Wow.
And then
no work?
No, not no work. Like
no.
There's always
don't swear.
Yeah, there's always an email. There's always something I need to do. There's always checking that like if I'm on holiday, it's checking is everything going all right. What's the plan for the day? And then I'll kind of from 10 o'clock, I'll maybe be able to maybe 10 till 3 or something.
Yeah,
it depends. If I'm on holiday,
can I just say that went from. Yeah, I can do that to 10 till 3
I know.
with a few emails and check-ins at the beginning.
But it's a conscious effort now more than anything.
I get that.
When I'm on holiday, I'm with my little boy. Like now I don't work Fridays because I have.
Wow.
Yeah, because I have my son for the day.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And
good for you.
It works out that I get the day with him, and it stresses me out because like a shorter week. It's such a shorter week. Trying to cram everything in, and every week I'm stressed about it. But it's the best day of my week by an absolute mile.
And it makes everything that you do Monday to Thursday so worthwhile.
100%. And what it gives me when I come back again is I know that I'm gonna be here whatever hours I'm here, do what I need to do. But on Friday, it's me and my boy. We can go to the park, we can go swimming, we can go to the beach, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
And that's what. Would I choose to be doing that? If I wasn't forced to do it. It was what days do you want to go to nursery? How does it work out? And that's just how it ended up. It's not like a complaint at all.
Of course.
But if I wasn't in a position where it was like, well, you have to take Fridays, I wouldn't do it.
No, of course not.
But
I get that.
I love doing it.
Oh, we could go somewhere right now, and there's quite a lot that I have to say on this because I think that a working parent is a really interesting topic. And as a single mum that runs a business, I think that I've got a lot to say about that because I love being a mum, but I love being Hallie's mum. I don't love motherhood. Like, I don't enjoy it. I don't love every minute of it. I don't long for it. I actually sometimes go, oh my goodness, you are actually quite annoying right now, and you're actually stopping me from being able to do what I need to do. And again, you can tell how much content I consume, but there's a clip of Molly May that talks about this, and she kind of says how she envies the mums who are motherly mums, and I do as well. I envy the fact that they can spend all day with their child loving it and being soft and going and singing the same song 27 times. That for me is brain numbing. Like, I cannot do that.
I get that completely.
But have that being said, there's been a lot of times in the last 3.5 years with Hallie where I felt this absolute amount of guilt from not being that person, because I think that that's what people force us to want to do. That's what we think we're meant to be.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not that mum. And, it makes me proud now that she says, are you going to work? Or which studio are we going to? And we actually filmed some behind the scenes yesterday because we do like a monthly vlog for the studio, and we were filming some behind the scenes, and we'd landed two new locations yesterday. And I was filming like just a clip for the YouTube video, and she was like, Mummy, can I come in? Can I come in? And I thought, oh my goodness, you are watching everything I'm doing. And then she came in and she was like, what are we talking about? And I'd said, oh, we're announcing where we're going next. And then she said it, and my heart was just like, oh,
but
you get it.
She's doing and living what you lived and what we spoke about at the start.
100%. And that is what reminds me that, like, you know, and if my mum or dad are listening, I hope that they don't think this is a negative thing. But my mum and dad didn't pick me up or drop me off to school every day.
Yeah.
You know, my grandparents were the ones that supported that. And when my dad was at a show or at a thing, it was like, oh, my dad's here, you know, because he wasn't.
Yeah.
But actually, you're right. You know, it's exactly that. I'm showing her that this is what it takes. And that's just a generational thing now. And I want her to see that. I bring her to work with me every time I can. You know, I don't put her to bed every night, but that's the sacrifice that I pay to be the mum that I know that I can be for her, and what it means that I can have a legacy for. But motherhood in the entrepreneurial space is, I would say, horrendous. I get asked on a weekly basis, how do you do it all? And my answer is always, well, I don't have a choice, you know? I don't have a husband or a boyfriend at home who sits there and pays half the bills. That's on me, you know? So actually, even if you're a man, remove the responsibility that your partner brings to the table. I do all of that, you know, and I have the most incredible family and all of that most amazing support network. But I still get up in the morning thinking, how the hell am I going to do it all today? And I go to bed at night thinking, it's okay, we did it.
Yeah.
It's another 1%.
But again, it's all what the pressures from external, not and you're very much focusing on how you feel about it. And I think that's so key that
true.
You can't just live for everybody else, right? I get it. Like it's so difficult when you, like I say, I'm off on a Friday, but all I'm thinking about is
It's work.
I need to do this. I could have done this. I could have done with being in the office today.
Yeah, of course.
I could have done with doing that. And then you're guilty that you're not giving undivided attention, but then you're thinking, but then I'm putting myself further away from giving you what I want to give you and what I want to achieve for you. And you're in this, but then you've got to find peace in your own head. And that's the key, isn't it?
It is. I have mum guilt and I have business guilt. So when I'm at work and I'm smashing something and we've done this amazing event and it means that my weekend when I should have been with Hallie, I've not been, or whatever, I go, oh my goodness, she's at the park with my mum and dad, or she's, you know, doing this with that. But then I sit there and I go, you're one step closer on that side. Yeah. And then when I'm with Hallie and we're doing something, or do you know what I would say though? What I have found is really helpful. We just go away. Yeah. So rather than having time at home, because I don't do that, I then open my laptop and I'm like, oh, you're playing with that, I'll quickly do this, and then nothing's done properly.
The only thing is my son has to put his hands all over the keyboard.
Yeah. Well, I'd give you a tip. Buy him a fake one and then give them that.
But you give him fake keys and he wants my keys.
No, real ones that don't work. It doesn't work.
Oh, I've got an old one.
Yeah, there you go. Give him your old laptop.
Okay, yeah.
Heirloom. There you go. Yeah, Hallie has a laptop. She doesn't know what's going on. Yeah, and it works. It works, but she just bangs around on it. She thinks it's brilliant. Yeah. So I'm doing my work. I'm like, yeah, you keep doing your work. Open a Word document. Off you go. There you go. Top tip. There you go. But yeah, and I think that you feel guilt wherever you are. Yeah. So you have to do that. The external pressures and that seek of external validation for me has lived rent-free in my head. I struggle with that so much. I'm a people pleaser. I do care what people think. And I wish I didn't, but I can't not, to be honest. And I work on that in my therapy all the time. And again, it's something that I don't know the answers to yet. And I think it's because it is a product that people consume. It's my product. It's my face on the brand. And I do care about what people think about that.
I think again, though, it's a blessing and a curse, because if you didn't care, like I care a lot about other people's opinions. Yes, me too. I'm a people pleaser in every way.
And do you feel it? Like, do you feel everything?
Yeah. It's a we've had some feedback on a website that we've done, and it's emotional. Yeah. Like, I'm trying not to be,
of course,
but I want to give the best that I can possibly get. And if they're not really happy with it, then I failed. Yeah,
100%. And I would use that, and that kind of similar thing in my industry is, if I have a member that cancels, my world is over. I'm like, what have I done to not give that? And it's taken me 8 years to get to the place where I now have a coping mechanism where I'm like, right, why? Could you have done anything about it? They've moved to Manchester. I can't change that. You know what I mean? I can't control that. Could it have been saved? Was it something that we did? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it? And how much is it going to be for the trajectory of the business? And if it's over a 5, then I do something about it. If it's not, I've learned to take a deep breath and say, that's okay, thank you, and see you later. But again, that just comes back to the fact that because you care. Yeah. If you don't care, you're not going to be a success, are you?
No. And it's all in your own head. Managing your own head the biggest task I feel with
Yeah.
expectation
Do
on
you
yourself.
have do you have things that you do for that?
Yes and no. I think I'm only good. No, not only good. I'm my best when I'm stressed. When I've got a lot going on, I moan about it. But
I'm going to send you this quote because it is exactly that. It literally says, "Can I get it?"
Yeah. Go
So
for
can
it.
I read it?
Yeah.
Hold on. It's on it. Will I die
No,
if I move with
you've
this?
got loads of room.
Okay, fine. Hold on.
I think the die might be
You know
a
what I
bit
mean?
of a
Like,
stretch.
right, let me read it. Honest, it's incredible. And I saw it yesterday and it literally lives rent-free now because it is just fantastic. Right. Are you ready? Psychology says when entrepreneurs live in a constant fight or flight, always chasing, always fixing and putting out fires, their nervous system adapts to chaos and chaos becomes the norm. They become wired for stress, calm feels foreign and rest feels irresponsible. Even when revenue is steady or the team is performing, their minds race to that next threat. But what about if it all falls apart? That becomes their internal soundtrack. It's not because they can't relax, it's because their nervous system has normalized survival over stability. They're not addicted to the hustle, they're just trying to remember what the hell safety feels like. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
Yeah. I'm
And-
sitting processing that as you're saying that.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And it's so true.
It articulates it so well.
So well. It's almost like if you didn't live in stress, we wouldn't have success.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have success, you wouldn't know what normal feels like. So again, go back to that question that you asked me at the beginning with how do we get there? We have to come out of normal.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be 1%.
Yeah, out of your comfort zone, out
100%.
of the. I get asked all the time, why don't you just go back to getting a normal job?
Yeah, I know. Could you though?
No.
I've never had a job. I don't know what a job feels
Yeah,
like. I've never booked holiday, like, you know, like, oh,
Yeah.
can you fill in a holiday form? Like, I've never had a boss. I've never had a normal
Yeah,
job.
I have.
No, but that's good. Like,
I wouldn't. There's a couple of roles that I just wouldn't take back.
Yeah.
My first job out of uni, it was a massive company. There's a little positive. I felt like a number,
yeah,
but
learned lots
the
of it.
process, the structure, how to do things, the way to do things, how you get a big, massive, like multi-billion-dollar company that then runs. The way it went from
funnels.
funneled all the way down to the individual person.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
But that is an incredible learning tool.
Yeah, for sure.
And
And I use
that's-
it. I use loads of it today.
Exactly. So for me, when you said like, how do you do it all? Like I would genuinely say that over the last 18 months, that's the stuff that I've learned. So
Yeah.
by working with consultants, by working with people that have been in those systems, I'm still learning. Like I didn't know about any of that. I didn't know about like sales structures and marketing teams. Like my team now is huge in terms of who we do and what they do. And everybody knows exactly what part of the puzzle they bring to
yeah,
the table.
so key.
But before we didn't know. So no wonder it was an absolute like shit show, you know, in terms of like scrambling here and there, because again, I was shooting blind. So there's benefits to taking the risk and just doing it without the plan. And then there's also benefits to having the skill set and the structure and the understanding. If you were to ask me, draw a blank piece of paper, go back to that lovely big notebook and do it all again, have someone who has that skill, 100%.
I think there's two things. Firstly, it's I thought everything had to be in my head.
Yeah.
All
Rather
had
than
to come
sharing
from
that.
me.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
And also it's understanding that you don't have to just hire people that are better than you.
Yeah,
it's
of
just
course.
talking to people.
Of course.
And getting people involved and collaborating. That I've done more of that in the last year or so than I have like ever in my life in any capacity.
But I bet you feel so much more elevated, so much more inspired, educated.
Yeah.
You've got a network. Like, that's amazing. I have a lot. Okay, so I don't really have loads of friends and I don't really have a humongous social life because that's a sacrifice that I paid. But my social life and my social work is my social network is within my work really. But that ensures that I am surrounded by really good people, like-minded energy, similar interests,
So key.
all of those. My therapist constantly says to me, what's your hobby? And I'm like, I don't have one because my job is my hobby. And that's kind of something that we back and forth all the time.
But if it's something you love and you enjoy,
exactly,
then
exactly. And that's the difference.
and that's the key to starting any business. You can't I've talked to a couple of people and they're like, oh yeah, I want to start a business, but I don't know what to do. Don't do it then.
No, because you're doing it for what reason?
Yeah, you're doing it because you want to leave your job and you want to think you want to earn more money.
Say. And actually, you'll leave your job and you'll earn less money, so good luck.
And then you're going to go back to getting a job again. If you don't know exactly, not necessarily exactly what you do forever in that business.
No, but you've got to have a real good idea
of what you want to achieve, how you can achieve it, that you can do it, like you say, doesn't have to be the biggest, best thing, but how is it that little bit different, and what's that deliverable that someone's going to get that they don't currently get?
I agree, and I have so much respect for people that do it on the side of a full-time job, because actually they're doing a full-time job and some.
Yeah, fair play.
But that is also the reality of a business, because we don't work 40 hours a week. I don't think
It's a good learning. I was talking to someone the other day about how do you feel about the fact that you do all this now, but you're still going to do that much.
And the rest.
Yeah.
And the rest. Like I just go back to the comment that I made about how do I now ensure that I spend good quality time with Hallie. Like we go away, so we'll go on holiday or we'll go away for the weekend and things like that. And for me, it's because of a change of environment.
Yeah, you detach completely.
Because I detach from that, and in the space of if there's something that's gone wrong at the studio, I'm not there. So I can help and I can put fires out from afar, but I can't save the day.
Yeah.
And that for me is really refreshing. And it also gives my team the ability to know that they can do it, because I will always try as much as I can to save the day.
I think it's also important. So, like, for example, I'm booked next month. I'm going away for like 4 days by myself to go to climb Snowdon.
Wow.
And I've booked it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because I have to force myself to take time off work.
Yeah, 100%.
Just for me. And I think again, going back to your point about being a parent, I absolutely adore my son.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely adore. I love being a dad. I love being his dad. I love everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not a perfect dad. There's lots of things that I could do better, but I love it. But also, I have to prioritize myself.
Yeah, you do.
Because if I'm not the best version of myself, I'm not for anybody else.
And if that's time for you, that's really important. For me, that's exercise. So for me, it's making sure that I've moved my body in a way that feels good for me. And originally I found that selfish. So originally I was like, but Hallie's being looked after by someone else and I'm at the gym. Like, what? So it wasn't actually until she went to nursery at 2 years old that I actually started taking that priority back into myself, and that's been huge for me. And I'm the best version of myself mentally, physically and emotionally because of that. So it might not be exercise, it might not be climbing Snowdon, but whatever it is,
you need to find
you do need to find that. It could be a book club, it could be, I mean, you know, there's so many things that I've explored and I'm like, no, reading, absolutely not. Nah. Like, no, but good if it is, right?
If it is for you, great.
Exactly.
I'm
but
just
find
very
it.
slow reader.
I just find that I'm reading. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's start taking some notes. Well, that's not switching off.
But I also, for me, I read a page. I'm like, what have I just read?
Yeah, because your brain's not in it.
Yeah, I'm forcing myself to do it.
I need a distraction, so I call it active meditation or active mindfulness, because for me, going on a run and listening to a podcast, I can't troubleshoot at that time. So my brain is off. If I'm on holiday, I can't troubleshoot. And I actually am so honest about it. But again, go back to the holiday comment with Hallie. I will always be on my phone first thing. I'll always take my laptop, like all of those sorts of things. I went on a girls' trip for my best friend's 40th and my laptop came with me, because you just never know. However, I've got to the stage now, especially when I am away with Hallie, where I can be in the swimming pool and play with her for at least 30 minutes. And that is kind of like my limit. Like, I'm like, right, that's done now. But she's also knows that that's our special time. We do that. And then she'll go off and chill or do whatever.
Get her laptop out.
Yeah. Oh, don't. Hey, listen, there could be a business in that, like a mummy and me laptop range. But no, that is it. And she needs the chill time too, because she's dragged here, there and everywhere. She has clubs and, you know, I am building the life that I had with my parents for her. She does activities 3 times a week and I want her to be like that. I want her to know that busy's good.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure that there's people listening going, oh, that's not wholesome.
Oh, yeah. But
I don't really care, to be
that's your
honest.
life, innit?
It is, exactly. And that's my
life.
choices, right? It's my child, my choices. And I choose to do that because that, for me, feels what I want for her.
And no parent's perfect anyway. So you can always, anyone can dissect anybody's relationship with their child or relationship with their parent.
Of course.
No one's perfect, and you've got to do the best that you can do with that.
And if you are doing the best that you're doing and you can justify your actions, then you're doing the best that you're doing. And
also, who you have to justify it to.
No, but I think sometimes it's an internal justification.
Yeah, that's what
for
I mean,
me,
yeah.
I definitely internally justify going to work. Like this, for example, this evening, we're short-staffed. I've got to work this evening. I left at 7 o'clock this morning. You know, so I'm going to get a few hours with Hallie after nursery today. But that's the sacrifice, isn't it? And she's like, how many sessions are you doing tonight, mummy? And she knows.
Yeah.
But again, as long as it's a learnt behaviour rather than a forced one.
Yeah,
I think
for
that's
sure.
the difference.
There's one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. When recruitment, right, is tough.
Yeah,
So you said you've got your sort of right hand woman.
I have, yeah.
How do you find recruitment is the kind of the starting question.
Okay, so I would say recruitment is the hardest part of any business because your people are everything, right? There's only one of you and there's only ever going to be one of you.
Yeah.
So my hierarchy or my infrastructure or pyramid, however you want to kind of call it, in terms of the setup of my business is there's myself and my mum as the founders. Then I've got my right-hand woman who's been with me forever. I then have another manager who sits on the same line as her. And then I have a huge team now, like in terms of instructors, there's nearly 30 of them across the sites. And then I have a marketing and a sales department. So recruitment is know your needs, know what you need, and ensure that you don't just settle for that. You might have to settle to begin with. I would always say, like, you know, you're not going to get the best of the best if they're they're your first hire. You might not be able to afford the best of the best to begin with, but learn and work to people's best abilities. Having said all of that, like, you know, there is something to be said for creating your own infrastructure as well and your own ecosystem again with what comes through. So our academy, we found a hole in the world was there isn't enough instructors for the demand at the moment because it's deemed as new. It's not new, but the skill set's just not there in the people at the moment because there's far more people consuming the product than delivering the product. So we created a training academy and I trained and did my education and training 7 years ago. So this has been something that I've known was coming a very long time. We toyed with the idea of training PTs. COVID happened. How many times have I said that? You know, how much of an issue COVID caused. But that skill set, it might not have, that, you know, you could say that line of work failed because the PT qualifications didn't go through, but it didn't fail because my skill set has now just been defined.
But also, I think it's where everything happens for a reason. Right? I'm not saying all of COVID happened for that reason.
But we all learn, right?
You make adjustments, you tweak, you make the positive from the negative. How do you keep? So two questions. Firstly, that first hire is key, right? You going from 1 to 2, right? It's really important.
I've never been a 1 to a 2 though, because I think just remember with my setup and my situation, there's always been more of me, but they've always been maybe on the ground rather than on the top tier.
Right.
So I think for me, I do understand what you're saying from that 1 to 2 move in terms of management.
Yeah.
So let's stay with that because I think there was always. I was self-employed as a single man band, and then I had a team of 5 when we opened the studio in terms of instructorship. But that's easy because they're people doing the same job as you. When you're talking about a 1 to 2 from a management, logistics, and operational perspective, different kettle of fish.
So how do you find that person that fits, and then from there, how do you? So there's that's a big question itself.
Huge, yeah.
And then going down from that is how do you? Well, you've got different levels and you've got your team. How do you manage to keep your ethos of your deliverables, how good it should be? How do you keep morale? Like,
what a good question. Like, there's so much to that. So I think with your top tier, let's try and chunk it into like top tier team and then ethos and community. So with your top tier, they're no better than the bottom tier because there's no such thing as top and bottom in any way. It's different skill sets, and these guys just work on laptops a lot more than these guys. And actually, I prefer their jobs than their jobs. But you know, their jobs don't last if these jobs don't get done.
And vice versa.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Everyone's as important as each other. It just looks different. But from a creative perspective, in terms of the driving of the business, the logistics and the operations, they've got to be, I would say, on par with you in terms of their passion for the product. So my two, myself, my mum, and then the 2 girls who work with me on that top tier, everybody gets the passion, everyone's driven, everyone's wanting to deliver really well. And the financials only come into it at the end. For us, it's a case of what do we want to deliver this month? How do we want to deliver it? What's being consumed, what's being liked, what's being not liked. And we all are so passionate in the same way as that. Yeah. So finding those people, I actually would say they come from your bottom tier. So both of those girls that I'm talking about were coaches and are coaches and still teach and all of that. So we have a like-minded energy to that, and we're all willing to go above and beyond. So that's what I would say needs to be the same as here. And then you asked, didn't you, how do we keep the morale and the ethos? Remembering that you are no better than them because you're not. I still teach 17 times a week. I still cover for them if they're on holiday. I still treat them with the same amount of respect. I still wear the same uniform as what they wear. You know, I still have the same rules as what they do because I am no better than them. And that's important. The clarity and understanding and transparency of levels is really important as well. Like, we know who we report to, we know why we report to them, but the respect is the same. We have check-ins. We ensure that people know that they can be heard and they're seen as well. No problems too big, no problems too small. I think we treat our clients in the same respect as well, you know. We value them just as much as we value the team. And that's really important. And then coming back to that, like, ethos, morale, community, it's everything that we've said. Does everyone know your ethos? Does everybody know what your important is? Does everybody know that community means everything to us? Our business was built on community. This was a case of us bringing something different to the table, not your big box gyms where you're a number and you put a PIN code into a door. This is us being like, we're going to know your name. Give us a couple of weeks and we'll know your name, and we'll know when you're going on holiday, and we'll know. And that's a real skill to have when you get bigger. But we've managed to kind of carry that through, and that's something that makes us stand out from the rest. And then, you know, making sure that you treat them nicely. Like, you know, if it's their birthday, making sure that there's birthday messages. You know, it doesn't take a lot to run to Sainsbury's and get someone some flowers and do a card, and have community days where the members and the team members come together, and community runs, and just stuff that makes people feel like your product, their workplace or their gym is bigger than just something that's transactional.
I think life as in our generation, work is very different to what it was.
Yeah, I agree with that hugely.
It's not. You're not just a number. You're not just an expectation.
No, but
it needs to be more of a community. It's not. People go to work to earn money, and that's always going to be the case.
Yeah, of course.
But it's bigger than that now.
It is bigger than that now. But I would come back to saying exactly what I've said at the beginning of there's people out there that are just going to work to earn a living, and then there's people out there that want to make a difference. And as long as you know who your difference makers are and your superstars in that respect are, and actually when I interview now or when I meet people, I'm like, what do you want? Like, what do you actually want? Because if you want something that I can't give you, I'm not the right place for you to
100%.
work. That's going to end in tears. And if you want to be part of something and you're passionate and you're driven and you are excited by my business, then, you know, then it can be our business. And actually, bit of a tangent, but it kind of rolls into the same place. But we actually say to our staff members now, like, if you want your own studio, come to us and tell us, because we'll help you get there. You know, yes, there's certain things that we'd want, like in terms of the name above the door and stuff, but they can have a part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Why not grow together? Why, you know, again, it all comes back to it.
So rare as well. And just when I was talking Danielle about sort of how she celebrates people going off doing their own thing. Why would you not want to build an environment where people are learning and developing and want to go and do their own thing? And I think, like, the whole interview process is really interesting now, because for me, it's, do you want to be part of this craziness that's going on here? Like, do you want to believe in it? Do you want to be part of it? But there's soldiers and there's generals. I use this example all the time. Yeah. And I think that you need both.
You 100%
and
need
if you
both.
if you don't have one, you don't have the other. No. And you can't have, they have to work together. But doesn't mean that anyone's more important.
No, and I think that's so important. Like, you know, I've worked with numerous consultants over the last, you know, kind of coming up to 2 years now, because I didn't have all the answers. And there's been a working experience of directorship that I don't like. And it's that pen pushing, do this, do that, that's the outcome. How about you do that? What about if you come and get involved in that? Because I'm going to have way more respect for you if you're doing what you're asking me to do, or if you're shining some light on that. As soon as you think you're better than someone, there's a lack of respect. And as soon as you've got a lack of respect from top to bottom, it's game over. And for some people, they might not respect you because it's just an indifference of personality, and that's okay.
That's fine, yeah.
That's okay.
Everyone can't be your friend.
No, and that's okay too, right? But as an empath and as someone who really cares about what everyone thinks, I can't cope with that.
Yeah, I know.
But I have to say, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
I have to go, that's okay. But
just cry when no one can see.
Yeah,
it's fine.
of course. But I'm honest about that as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I lose a member of staff, I take everything really personally. But that's growth, isn't it? And every day is a school day, and we're learning
and if you're not
every
learning,
day.
there's no point.
We're learning about the people, we're learning about the product, we're learning about the ecosystem, the consumers, the social marketing world, the industry we're in. It's all a lesson.
That's a good way to round it off.
I think so.
Is there, I would always kind of ask if there's any advice you'd give to people, because I think if someone's starting out in any space, what would be your sort of golden kind of little tips?
Yeah.
You kind of said one at the start that just kind of go for it, basically.
I mean, I just don't think that you should allow anyone to change your mind. Quite highly strung like that. I think that if you've got a vision and an idea and something that you want to do, just freaking go and do it, because the only person that you're going to be really hard on is yourself.
Yeah.
So that would be for me. But I would also say, remember, you are your superpower. You are the only person who is you. And, you know, prior to recording this, we were having conversations about people that we both know, and it's lovely to be known for what you want to do. And just know that that's who you are. And I think that's really powerful. And I know that within my space, I'm known as being very passionate and very driven and all of that sort of stuff. And I love that. I love hearing that. So know that you are who you do your best job for.
Yeah.
And then I would also say as well, just don't forget to take a step back and look back at how far you've come. Because I wish I'd have done that earlier on, because I just constantly felt like I was failing because I wasn't getting where I wanted to get to. But I wish I'd have looked back and had little checkpoints of looking at that. So whether you track your revenue, whether you're tracking well, you should be tracking your revenue, but you know what I mean. You know, but whether
Well,
that's
someone should be.
Yeah, someone. Yeah, if you're not, I mean, Anyway, different conversation, but. Whether it's your revenue that you're looking back on and looking at the growth from that perspective, whether it's a retained, whatever it is, whatever your metrics are, whatever it is, just don't forget where it all started. And nobody can sit in this chair or any other chair and say that they didn't start at zero. So just remember that. Everyone started somewhere. And, you know, certain people maybe had legs up in certain ways or funding that you didn't have, but everybody started with an idea on that piece of paper. Oh, and finally, keep that piece of paper.
Yeah.
Keep that piece of paper. I've got one on my floor in my bedroom at the moment, and I'm just like, I know that that's going to be a really special one. So it's just sitting there. Because if you're a little bit hippie and a little bit woo-woo, you all know that just having it in your subconscious constantly, you're going to do that. So just whatever it is, whether it's a vision board, whether it's on the back of your phone, whether it's that mind map, just keep it within your vicinity, because it's going to help.
Keep remembering what you want, what you're there for, on the good days and the bad days. And I think I said it before, but I think when you write something down, it's like 5 times more likely to happen.
100%, yeah, and speaking it out and having conversations. And also, I think one other thing, because I'm sure that we could do a whole other podcast on just these things, but another thing, find like-minded people and don't be afraid to tell them your ideas, and don't feel like just because you don't have the answers, it's not worthy of listening to. Because actually, if I would have had some of the conversations that I'm confident enough to have now, I think I'd have been 10 years further by now.
Yeah.
But because I was so fearful of what I didn't know.
Yeah. There's always this weird feeling that you don't want to come across like an idiot, or you don't want to come across...
Of course.
And yeah, you don't want to say that you don't know something.
Yeah, but I sit in these conversations now, and I think 2 years ago I wouldn't have been able to do this.
No.
But actually, it's just because I've put myself in situations where I didn't know the answers, so I've had to gain the answers. So also as well, like we've slated social media a little bit and kind of said about how difficult it is, but use your toolkit to get to those people. I get people in my DMs all the time, and I love it. I love having conversations with people who are like, I'm thinking of doing this. You know, how did you do that? Or I'm thinking about this, or I've been watching, or I've listened to this. Do it, because you never know what bit of golden nugget they're going to give you. Just be ballsy. Just go and get it. And
I do think social media is amazing. And all it takes is one person to see one video, even if it's your first video.
Exactly, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. No. And you don't have to. You don't have to buy all this gear and fancy cameras and stuff. Just get on with it. Just get your phone out and get on with it.
Yeah, and I would be very safe to say that I definitely went into that perfectionist space when I came back after having Hallie, because I thought that my content needed to look a certain way and everyone was going to have this expectation of me, but I was just seeking external validation. When you actually shift the needle and you just go in terms of what is my deliverables, what am I trying to deliver, and what is it that I want to put out, your content will be better.
Yeah. And that thing that we kind of circled back to earlier on is success is you're in your own head. What do you want to achieve? How do you want to achieve it? That could be 15 sites. That could be 3. Yeah. That could be 50.
Could be 2 beds in your garage and you'll be happy, and that's okay.
That's totally cool.
Yep. I just know, for me, if we want to finish and wrap up on what does success look like for me it looks like knowing that everything I ever dreamt of came true. And it wasn't a dream. It was something that I hustled, and I had the journey, and I loved every single moment on that journey. But that's something that I've worked really hard to know that that's what I want.
And I bet that's evolved and evolved and evolved.
100%. And, you know, at one point I was like, cool, I've done it. I'm there. And then I was like, no, now what? Now what's next? And that's the thing. Like, for some people, what you have is enough, and that's good, you know. But don't let anybody else's opinion redefine your perspective of success.
Yeah,
because you're the only one who has to feel it.
Oh yeah, you're the one that has to live by it and live and breathe it. And it's the same with your success, with your business, with your ideas. You've got to live and breathe that. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Right. Thank you very much.
You are
we could
so
talk
welcome.
for another hour, I think,
and I'd love to carry on.
Need to wrap it up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've hinted there's some exciting stuff coming up soon. I didn't want to probe it too much because I thought you want to do that in your own time.
Thank you.
But maybe we can get you back on and we can talk more about where we are.
And as I said, we document everything on social. So if you do want to see anything, there is some really exciting things coming up, and it would be amazing to have yourselves and anyone who's listening on that journey.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.